Hi everyone, welcome back to Gillian at Mystic Healing Therapies. So how's everyone doing this week? So it's the 19th of February 2023. How's it going in your part of the world? How's the energies? What are you feeling? I'll just tell you a little bit about what I've been up to recently. So yesterday I went to Oxford in England where there was a protest. So quite a few thousand people joined in. A protest against the government's latest trick, which is 15-minute city zones. So they're planning to lock everyone into a 15-minute city zone. They're claiming it's to help with climate change. And the idea is that you have to stay in your 15-minute city zone and you have to get permission to go out of that zone. So this is a permanent thing. They're supposed to be trialling it. And of course, there's a lot of kickback from that. People aren't having it. So I did meet quite a few really interesting people. It was so lovely to be with so many awake, aware people. So shout out to all of you I met yesterday. We had a fab day and it was very, very peaceful. Thousands of people there, and guess what? The mainstream media said there was 2,000 people and that they arrested people. Well, I saw none of that. There was thousands of us, just like with the protests in London last year. There was hundreds of thousands in London and never got reported, so that in itself says a lot. Now, some people say to me, I'm really surprised you go on these protests because aren't you a spiritual person? Why are you protesting when it doesn't seem to fit with your spiritual life? Well, that's what today's video is about. You know, we can all be spiritual and sit on yoga mats wafting incense about all day and it all being about love and light, and that's great on some levels, but the reality of it is we live in a world of duality at the moment, this 3D world. We've got the good, we've got the bad, and we've got the ugly. And one thing that I've come to realise very much, especially this last 3 years, is the love and light community. So the new age community of sort of love and light, everything's love and light. It is wonderful to be in love and light, but what we need to do is acknowledge there's also dark. You know, it's very unbalanced to see everything in terms of love and light. And another thing that I came to realise is, you know, I do a lot of clearing work with the, I've got to be careful, this is YouTube, but let's just say the deep underground military bases. Some of you will know about that. And I've done a lot of energetic work and a lot of clearing in the higher dimensions around those places. And it struck me that if we're denying that these places exist because it's too difficult to see, you know, it's much easier to see everything as love and light. But if we deny the depths of depravity that some beings on this planet have been doing, then denying it and pretending it's not there is actually protecting them. We need to realise it's there so that we can do something about it and step up and clear it. So if the clearing work I'd done, if I'd actually denied it and thought, I can't bear to look at it, it's horrible, I'm not doing it, I'm going to just focus on love and light, then I would never have done all the clearing work that I've done in those places. So, you know, it goes hand in hand, the yin and yang. Yes, it is wonderful to be in a loving vibration, but it's also our responsibility to recognise that there have been, I say in a past tense because, you know, they've largely been cleared out, but, you know, there have been evil forces at work on this planet doing hideous things to humans, hideous things to children. And if we deny that, then we are denying any help for those being perpetrated by these forces. And to deny that there are dark forces is to just protect the dark forces. So, yeah, that's why I was protesting. I know for a fact that these agendas they've got set out, you know, the 2030 agenda, there's even a 2050 agenda, which is even worse. I know for a fact these agendas are not going to come out to play. Back in 2020, I had a vision when all of this started, you know, the pandemic thing kicked off. I had a very strong vision and I saw that the dark forces had made a big plan. So what my guide showed me is an architectural plan of a bridge, and they said, for one thing, the bridge will never cross, because I always have a saying, I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. But they were very clear to tell me, one, the bridge will never cross, but two, they've got all the plans laid out. Yes, they have, but the plans I saw were in sort of like the greyed out area. It was never going to come into play. So what you've got to understand is all this 2030 agenda, 2050 agenda, climate change, permanent lockdowns, whatever else they've got planned, you've got to understand that that isn't going to happen, and be confident it isn't. I know for a fact it isn't, but just because I know it's not going to happen doesn't mean that I sit comfortably back and think I'm not going to do anything about it. No, I get out on the streets with my placards protesting that I'm not consenting to this, because it's all very well thinking, well, it's not going to happen, hunky-dory, I don't need to do anything. No, that's not the point. The point is we all empower ourselves, stand in our power, and do the, you know, make it very clear that we do not consent to these. Because another thing, by making it very clear that you don't consent, if you say nothing, then they take consent by, they call it implied consent. If you don't turn around and say, no, I do not consent, then they just assume that you do consent. So, you know, those words, I do not consent, they are very, very powerful, and that can be for anything, be it climate change lockdowns, be it medical mandates, be it alien abductions, if you know, anything like that. You've just got to clearly say, I do not consent, because then implied consent can't be taken. So yeah, that's why I stand up and say no. And you can still be spiritual, you can still do all this from a loving, heart-centered place. You know, people think protests are violent. That's only because the BBC and the mainstream media pretend they are. But I've been to, it must be about 15 protests now, and I can honestly say I've never seen any violence at any of them. So yeah, just, you know, have a think about that. All right, so if you've not already subscribed to me and you enjoy my videos, please press subscribe button. I really appreciate it. And looking forward to joining you on Wednesday the 22nd at 2 PM on Mark Atwood's show for our global meditation. I've had a lot of people contacting me. We really have got people from all over the world that are going to take part in this. So join us 22nd of the 2nd 23 at 2 o'clock on Mark Atwood's YouTube channel for our global meditation. And I've got the links below if you want my book Enchanted Earth, and also my Telegram channel as well, linked below. All right, sending you all lots of love and light, and speak to you soon. Bye for now.